Alright, hello citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel here once again, and this is another wrestling review. Today we continue our installment of looking at previous Survivor Series matches, and this one was a really good one to watch, a really fun one to watch, and that is Survivor Series 2017, The Shield versus The New Day. For starters, as always, I'm not a professional wrestling reviewer or analyst, just a man who enjoys a good time. And as I kind of gave away, I definitely had a really good time watching this match. A couple things surrounding this match that I remember vividly. For starters, I remember that this, for a lot of people, was kind of a dream match. The Shield, who at one point was like the dominant three-man faction, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and then they went their separate ways, and then he's in 2014. So from 2012, so late 2012 to 2014, they ruled WWE in a lot of ways, and then they would go on to rule WWE perhaps even more when they went their separate ways. But then late in 2014, a new faction came about, the New Day, consisting of Kofi Kingston, Big E, and Xavier Woods, and they went on to do really big things while still remaining a faction. And so I remember, like, a lot of people talked about how this match would be really awesome to see, the Shield going up against the New Day, two of arguably the best factions in what was modern WWE at the time. And we finally got it here at this Survivor Series. But I also remember the build for the Survivor Series, how this really felt like SmackDown versus Raw, just like the old days. And I remember that this was like right after this second brand split. So in 2016, the brands were split once again, so separate superstars going to separate brands once again, and the brands actually meant something again. And so I remember that SmackDown invaded Raw, and you had the iconic, that funny iconic meme of Kurt Angle talking on the walkie-talkie like it's happening. The SmackDown superstars invading, New Day leading the charge, and then Raw would retaliate. Like that was really cool to me. Like how Shane McMahon pretty much sent SmackDown to infiltrate Raw and take them out and everything, and then Raw did the same with the Shield leading the charge. So really good stuff. That build, like the build to that Survivor Series was really awesome. There were some aspects of the Survivor Series that weren't as great, but and I'm mostly looking at the main event. But so the build for the Survivor Series was really solid, and this is a match that a lot of people were looking forward to. I remember I was looking forward to it when it first happened, and thankfully it did not disappoint. So without further ado, let's get right into it. For those of you who have seen these types of reviews before, you kind of already know how this works. But for those of you who are new here, first of all, welcome. But also, pretty much what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be talking about what I liked, what I disliked about the match. And starting off with what I liked, both teams were pretty evenly matched throughout this match. If anything, I feel like the momentum might have been slightly more in favor of the Shield, but otherwise, both teams had. You could almost say that both teams had pretty much an equal shot of winning. Now, in the back of your mind, you kind of figured the Shield might get the victory, but both teams were still pretty evenly matched, and both teams, this really felt like the best of both teams. There was a lot of good teamwork between the two teams. Both teams, both the Shield and the New Day, definitely known for their teamwork and everything, and pretty much being a unit. The Shield had recently reunited. I mentioned they broke up in 2014. 2017 was the Shield reunion. Not always for the best, but the Shield reunited, and right in time for a Survivor Series. Thankfully, even though Roman did contract viral meningitis at this time, it was going around. Same with Bray Wyatt, which is why a couple of those guys, were both Roman and Bray, and a few other superstars, were off of the TLC 2017 card. Or even though, thankfully, in hindsight, it might have worked out, because we got not only a kind of funny visual with Kurt Angle, as the third man of the Shield replacing Roman, but also that awesome, fantastic match between AJ Styles and Finn Balor. And then 5 years later, not much has changed, other than the fact that actually one of them is actually heel now. Finn is like an actual heel as part of Judgment Day, but nevertheless, yeah. But thankfully, both teams were assembled and were able to take each other on, and that was pretty evenly matched for the most part. Really showing the best of both teams. We got a Unicorn Stampede. We got the Shield doing their thing, and we got brawls, and both teams really went at it. Like I said, momentum and a little bit more towards the Shield, but the New Day definitely definitely held their own in this match, and it ended with a triple powerbomb from the top rope. Roman Reigns went up top. Seth and Dean helped lift Kofi up for the triple powerbomb, and they delivered it. And I feel like, first of all, I totally forgot that spot happened. So when I saw it, I was like, ooh, really good stuff. But also, I feel like having both teams be evenly matched was a fantastic idea, because this was like I said, this was kind of a dream match. This is a match a lot of people wanted to see and wanted it to look for, and people were looking forward to. So the fact that they were able to they were able to battle each other, and both teams actually looked like they had a shot at winning, and that, I think, is pulled off really, really well, and that's how I think the match should have gone, and thankfully it did. If it was a situation where it was totally one-sided, where the New Day looked too dominant or the Shield looked too dominant, which, like I said, Shield a bit more momentum, they kind of looked a little bit more dominant than the New Day, which was unfortunate, but it's not just because they won, but I feel like if it was like a squash match where it was totally one-sided, it would have been like a very disappointing match. So the fact that both teams were evenly matched and we saw really, really great stuff from both teams was really, really good. And they definitely put over how evenly matched these teams are and were built up to be, not even just during the build to the Survivor Series, but just in general. They talk about the accolades of both teams. They talked about how they really made both teams seem like viable threats to each other. And I even loved the opening where you had Dean and Xavier are facing off, and then Seth and Kofi were tagged in, or it might have been the other way around. It might have been Dean and Kofi starting off, and then Seth and Xavier were tagged in, and then Roman and Big E. So showing each of the counterparts. Although I probably swap out Kofi for Xavier, because Seth and Kofi I feel like are definitely more like the flight guys. Xavier Woods and Dean Ambrose was a bit more ground based, although Xavier is pretty agile. But yeah, they got the power guys right with Roman and Big E. And then flash forward to about last year at Survivor Series 2021, Big E and Roman Reigns faced each other because they were both world champions. But they put over both teams. Both teams looked very evenly matched, so I think that was really well done, and it really put over how important and how big this match felt. This definitely was a dream match come true, and it was proof that WWE could do dream matches and make them look good. They would then disprove that the next year with AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, but let's enjoy this match, I guess. But yeah, so there's that. Had both teams, and it was, like I said, evenly matched, so really, really good stuff. And they had a nice, lengthy, beefy match. I'm not sure exactly how long the match was. I wasn't really keeping time all that well, but still, the fact that they were able to really work with each other, it was definitely a double-digit amount of time, which is nice, but the fact that both teams really got time to shine against one another, I think, was really, really good. In terms of what I didn't really like about the match, and some of the stuff is a little nitpicky, for starters, not a big fan of the fact that this is, opening the card. I wish it was a bit further in the card, but then again, it does make sense. You want to get a really good match to open, and so that you wake the crowd up, and the people who wanted to see the New Day versus the Shield, which was myself included at the time, both then and now, for the purpose of this review. Obviously, now that the event has come and gone, It doesn't really affect me because I could just go and go over to the match and then click it. But even watching it back then, the fact that they opened a bit. Yeah, I wish this they could have saved it later on in the show, but then again, I get it strong opener, so that's why that's also a nitpick. But another nitpick. Why did Seth and Dean like cover up their Shield gear to put on the half Shield, half Raw T-shirts? I feel like that was really weird. The New Day didn't have SmackDown T-shirts. They came out with them, but they like took them off and just had their regular gear. I wish the Shield were able to. Roman kept his like Shield SWAT gear on, but Seth and Dean switched out of theirs for the T-shirt, even though Dean had his T-shirt ripped off. But yeah, I wish they just stayed in their like SWAT gear. Not just because I like the Shield SWAT gear; it's actually pretty good, but also because I feel like it was a bit weird, like why change out? Or if you're gonna have them be in the shirts, why not just have them come out with the shirts? Having them change right after their entrance, I think, was really, really weird. But like I said, some nitpicky stuff, and the fact that momentum was a bit more towards the Shield, I feel like um, was a little bit disappointing, but still really, really good match. And it's just some nitpicks on my part. The other thing is there was some amount of bickering on commentary. Thankfully, nowhere near as bad as Survivor Series 2005. That 5-on-5, it was nowhere near that bad, which if you haven't already, go check out that review. But still, it was noticeable. But nevertheless, that is going to do it for this review. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please do me a favor. Like, comment, subscribe. Share it with your friends. Turn on post notifications every time I upload a video so you can see it as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this match and the build to this particular Survivor Series. And let me know, are you guys excited for Survivor Series this year? With the War Games element, I'm interested to see how they're doing it. They're starting to put together the War Games teams now, which I think is a little bit late to be able to do it because Survivor Series is in like a couple weeks, but better late than never. But thanks for watching, and I will see you guys later. Peace.